And hello, everyone. Welcome. This is the very first Full Self session here tonight. I am Michael Patrick Russell, or better known as MPR. Am here with a very wonderful guest, Chicago's very own singer-songwriter, and a lot more other magic hats that she spins as well. Sylvia, Sawyer James.
Hey, I'm Sylvia, Sawyer James. Happy to be here. Happy to be a part of the new rebranded session.
Yeah, Full Self sessions.
Full Self.
Bring your full self to the table.
Will do. Always do.
Your music is a treat. It really is. I was truly lovely to catch you at the apartment gig and diving into the music after seeing your performance, which was wonderful, by the way. Just went through a rabbit hole, a portal, really, and got lost. I did not expect there to be so much, but to my surprise, it was a treat. It was a real treat for me. And I've really been loving listening to it the last few weeks. It's been great.
Yeah, it was at the show with Haha Wiener 420.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which, that was wild.
Yeah,
I
put that show together. Well, I mean, Cam helped me put that show together, but I really wanted to play with Haha Wiener 420. We met in Columbus at a house show, and in like July, June or July or something. So
you got to tell that story.
Meeting Haha Wiener.
Yes, please.
I played this show in Columbus. I have a friend out there named Maureen who's like a queer country artist, and but I played in this like Columbus, like the Midwest, but like Ohio, and Columbus, Ohio is like has all these like 70s homes just like stuck in the 70s, but there was this like total 70s basement with like a bar and a shag carpet, and it was like decorated to the nines. And I think this was like the first show they had in there, but it was a really great show. And Haha Wiener 420 was there in attendance. He didn't play, but yeah, in the middle of the show, somebody like came in with a bunch of like crabs, and they just did like a crab boil, and then we like ate a bunch of seafood, and then they just continued the show.
That is magic.
It was definitely a DIY like magic moment.
Yeah, must have been awfully tasty too.
It was awfully tasty. Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Both did a wonderful performance, but yeah, just so cool. Your music, I like the found sounds from the Memory Palace. That line, off the bat is super catchy. Where did that slogan? It's very good for like your like entering your world. Like I loved seeing that line before I hit your link tree and then found the Bandcamp. Where did that line come from?
Well, Memory Palace is like this concept in psychology. It's like a strategy of how to like remember things by like placing them in different places, like in an imaginary palace. But my music like started or was majorly conceived out of this recording of myself as a 2-year-old talking with my parents, and my whole first album, Sun, is kind of based off this like found recording from my own history.
Wow.
And the moment I heard the tape for the first time, I was like, okay, I have to make like a music out of this. And so that's where I created Found Sounds from the Memory Palace. So like found sound, the idea of found sound just being like oh yo, like I'm gonna sample this, like random field recording and sampling, but from the Memory Palace, so things that are always like tied back to like self and like personal experience and like
yeah, That is so wonderful that you found that. Was it a tape
Yeah,
cassette?
it's a cassette.
CD? A tape cassette.
Yeah.
And I was going to ask because the talking and narration throughout Sun was really, really beautiful. And I was wondering that. I was like, is this Sylvia's like actual past? And it was.
Yeah, all
That's
of that.
amazing.
I mean,
Yeah.
both my parents' voices are on that. It's my voice as a 2-year-old. Yeah.
When did you find it?
I was probably, I think one of my parents like pulled it out of the keepsakes. Like I was probably like 19 years old or something. Made the album when I was 22 or 23.
How much did you listen to it before deciding to kind of build an album around it? Or
Not too much, but in building the album, I really studied it because I sample it heavily. I even sample like just random ass tape noises, but from that tape, like stopping and starting, rewinding, fast forwarding, little tape glitches I sample that aren't like words, but just add texture, but they're still from that tape.
How many times have you listened to the tape all the way through?
Probably like 15 or 20.
Nice.
Yeah, I still have it, but I haven't listened in a while.
That's so cool. And such a unique album in its own form. It's great that you were able to like craft something out of finding such a rare piece,
Yeah.
that an archive really,
Yeah,
very personal too.
definitely.
It's like, I really love how raw and visceral you are, like with your performance and your music, very honest. And I think I'm always been my favorite, type of artist, just super, very real. And so I really respect that. I really loved that from the beginning. Seeing you, it was like I was very drawn in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my favorite artist too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the ones I connect most with.
Yeah. And just overall, just some really, really beautiful pieces. I want to ask for you, when did your artist journey begin? Like,
I mean, music, like, I've been making music basically my whole life.
Wow.
I started taking drum lessons as like a 5-year-old. I was listening to music a lot. I was becoming infatuated with musical icons like Elvis and Jimi Hendrix and Bob Marley, like from a young age. I started playing guitar when I was 12 or 13 and learning other people's songs. But I think soon after I started learning guitar, I started just messing around, noodling, making up my own shit, and probably started writing my own songs in high school. I think there are many like stages of leveling up that I've done, I guess, and just getting more serious in my musical journey in my songwriting. But I played my first live show in college when I was like 19 or 20 years old.
but it sounds like right away when you were playing the acoustic or playing the guitar, you were already coming up with patterns and like things that you enjoyed. Like you were kind of teaching and also creating stuff already.
Yeah,
You'd say?
I think I've always really taught myself. I took guitar lessons in middle school and high school, and then some in college. But I've always just taught myself, and like I've always been really interested in coming up with my own ways of doing things, whether it's like making chords or melodies or tunings or whatever.
I want to say your guitar work is heavy.
Nice.
It is heavy. It's so just the textures and some of the one-offs you do with your fingers, the scales you pluck in between is just very exciting.
Yeah, thank
through
you.
and through. Seriously. Love it. I really love it. I did want to see, I noticed I saw on Bandcamp when you go all the way down to the bottom of the well, January, which I was like, what is January? Like, I couldn't, or it's its own separate project, but I did listen, and what? Like, what is January?
This is like, I feel like this is like a Nardwar moment, but I guess it is just on my link tree. So, no, like, I mean, I have a big history making like noise music and ambient music in college. Honestly, like I really, and I like to claim this, but I really got my chops in Ableton at least, and my like recording chops I got making noise music.
Okay.
And my earliest, I got really into pedals. I wanted to do super into Tim Hecker and Boards of Canada.
Real quick, what are some of your favorite pedals?
Oh, pedals. My first major pedal was the Digitech Whammy, which is like
for noise too. Like,
it's like
what you can do with that pedal.
It can do everything. It's like I still use it. I honestly use it so often, but I use it for like a chorus because it's got a detune. But I also got this like Ibanez Delay 7, which is a very basic delay, but it self oscillates really easily. So once I figured out about like self oscillation, I was like off to the races. Those pedals have been really big for me. I love flangers. I've got this like cheap like
so good
flanger that like does crazy things or really subtle things. Like it's very versatile.
Well, January was such a treat. Angel's just a sonic portal to the most magnificent dead mall I've ever seen through my third eye. Like right away, I was just like entranced, and the incredible just amount of ambience, but also just I don't know, man, some real beautiful textures.
Yeah, well, there's
together.
tape on that. I actually, I think multiple places on that EP or whatever. I've got like I had all these old tapes that someone gave me, or I got at a thrift store, and there was that was from some like just like classical like string piece, and I think I was really inspired by William Basinski, like just like tape fuckery and like tape decay, and that piece is really inspired by disintegration loops because it does sort of disintegrate, but I'm not actually like disintegrating the tape necessarily. But fun fact, I actually had just gotten a new cassette player and like was really excited and was like sampling tapes off of it, fast forwarding, rewinding, pausing, like doing just like getting all these sounds. And I actually like jammed it and like broke it while I was like sampling this tape, and like it just like wouldn't open, and I don't know if I still have it, but I haven't fixed it. But yeah,
awesome, super gnarly. The second one, the tuning the flower, it felt like the brain tingles.
Yeah.
Literal brain tingles. When I say that, I mean it.
You're gonna like go nuts when you hear about this. I worked at a fucking like gimmicky immersive art museum that had a ball pit, and I was cleaning the ball pit, which involves using this like giant sucky tube to suck the balls up, shoots them through like a watery like soapy thing and spits them back out. So I was just recording that whole day. I buried my, and this is all just on my iPhone, but buried my iPhone in the balls and like just had the voice memo on and was just like recording these like balls like shooting.
That's how it was done?
Yeah.
Oh, that is genius.
It's like plastic balls. Yeah.
Genius. That is so cool. It sounds amazing. It really does. The swelling of everything. Just love noise too. And just, I think for me, I've really been enjoying going to dead malls and finding these like abandoned places and listening to like noise. And so it's going to be a real treat to listen to January.
Sick.
I'm very excited to. I've already listened to it a couple times through, Golf Mill. I was over in Orchard Mall, the Orchards Mall in Michigan. Benton Harbor is so dead and so neglected and abandoned. It's just, and seagulls are just,
Wow.
But I listened to some of January there, and like walking through
So
the
cool, dude.
decay was like, whew, is this heaven?
I actually have a lot of maybe they're on my SoundCloud. I do have a bunch more like noise tracks from college and stuff that I didn't really do anything with, but I'm very down to share them with you if you want.
I would love that.
Yeah.
I really would love that.
I'll probably get back into that too. It just comes in phases, but
When did January become a thing?
January, I made in the month of January in 2023. So it was just kind of a month-long like obsessive project.
Everything was really put together really well.
That's awesome. Yeah.
It was really, really sweet.
I felt good about it. Yeah, thank you.
So, Sun, I mean, I know that was technically your first full length, would you say?
Yeah.
Or how long were you in the works on Sun?
Well, it had like basically some of my first songs, the first like songs that I felt really good about, that I wrote towards the end of college. So the songwriting on Sun is probably 2 or even 3 years in the making, and the recording of it I did over like 6 months right when COVID hit.
Dang, the great hiatus.
Yeah.
Man, as Thoreau said it best, I ever since John Charles Thoreau referred to the pandemic as the great hiatus, I could never go back. Another one of my favorite Chicago local musicians at the moment, Thoreau, and really want to hope to catch them more live soon as well. But really, just great job on Sun. And like to hear the story behind it was like to actually find this relic that had such history and then build, so many great songs out of that. It's really cool.
I was really like totally learning. I mean, I feel like I'm always learning as I go, but Sun was basically every component of all those songs was like, I learned something new in order to do that. It was my first recording songs, like, cause I recorded like,
GarageBand?
Ableton.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's
I had
right.
recorded like feedback guitars, but like to record like my vocals and mix my vocals and guitar and, make that kind of composition. It was totally new.
Super cool. Lyrics are as well great, and I always love to bring this up on the show, and probably we'll talk about it quite often on the Full Self sessions. The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron, one of my favorite just books as far as like writing goes. She does this thing called the stream of conscious writing, where every morning you like wake up and no matter what, you hit 3 pages, stream of conscious, whatever comes, pen to paper, let it rip. Something I just love to practice myself, but within that, love asking artists, how do you assemble words? How do you assemble your lyrics? What's your approach?
Yeah. Words are so important to me. I was a writer. I mean, I was playing music my whole life, but I got really into writing, just like journaling and writing poetry for years before I really committed to writing a song. And so like, and I just love like, assembling sentences and wordplay and, metaphor. And now I feel like I do most of my writing in song actually, and I don't do a ton of. I would maybe like to journal more, but I do like. Sometimes I have periods of a lot of journaling, and it's not so regimented like every morning, but it is pretty stream of consciousness. And I
was
always
just gonna ask.
Yeah. I'm always going back and mining like any journal entry, just mining it for lyrics. Find one word and like start a song from that, or like one phrase. And I get a lot of songs just starting from like passive journaling, just chilling journaling.
I feel that happens often for myself too, sometimes, where you're journaling or just writing and then one line will just spark something, and it's
all
like,
you need is
I
a line.
need to do that now. Like that has a note in my head already. Like that needs to be captured. And then other times it's you pick up the guitar and it's just like whoop.
Yeah.
Like how often would you say it comes stream of conscious for you?
The songwriting?
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Right.
Sometimes it's more like analytical and meticulous, but I usually find the songs I like the most are pretty smooth stream of consciousness. But I really like I nitpick all my lyrics, and like every single word, even the twos and the buts and like the connecting words are like selected. Like I choose between them. So, but there is always this element of just like.
Have you ever put together a lyric booklet?
My friend Olive made a lyric sheet for Sun. It's not physical, but it might be on Bandcamp somewhere. If you download the Sun album on Bandcamp, maybe it comes with it. But a physical lyric book. Oh, I also my song Sandy was a single, and now it's on my new record. But I have made a bunch of like handwritten lyric sheets for that song that I sometimes sell as merch. And
well, I would love a little booklet of your lyrics, like
that'd be so
a little
sick.
like some type of, I don't know. I just like your words. I like what you're choosing. I'm like really liking what you're crafting, and I feel like very much could as well.
Yeah,
be a little pamphlet of some sort,
Yeah,
just like super sweet.
I love that.
I was going to ask actually about Sandy. Really like some of the words in that, like the skeleton of our house, like the premonition spring, like the incense in the street light. I have never saved anything. I don't know why, but that one really touched me. But throughout the whole song is very potent words and music as well. Where did that come from?
That song is a real milestone for me. Like it was a big moment for me. It was every aspect of that song was like, whoa, like I could do this. Like the something I was really conscious of in that songwriting, the lyrics, is like pulling from a very vast range of like imagery, and like not just working with like a forest, but working with like a house and chocolate and brains and like your grandma in Nepal, and like creating just a huge
Atmosphere for sure.
Atmosphere.
Very adventurous.
Yeah.
Man.
That song was crazy. That song definitely was just like poured out, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. It's one of my favorites for sure.
Nice.
Connect O Me, is that how you say it?
Call it Connect to Me.
How is that like a play on words, or is
Yeah, it is a play on words. Connect to Me is like a word in neuroscience that describes like the a map of like all these like neural connections.
Okay.
I just the play on words doesn't really, it's not even that significant. I just always read it as connect to me. So I just call it Connect to Me.
I love it. It's super cool. And I saw that Patrick Buddy laid down the violin. Was that the first time that you had collabed with Patrick? Or?
No, Patrick and I, Patrick was like, when I moved to Chicago in 2020, I moved in with Patrick.
Okay,
and he
so
was
Patrick
almost the person who
in Chicago.
Yeah, he was sort of the person who invited me to Chicago as a musician seeking other musicians to live with, and we just connected.
I guess we should touch on real quickly, where are you from?
I'm from Portland,
Space.
Oregon, in space, in Earth. Yeah.
Portland, Oregon. Okay. Born and you
Mostly
were in
raised.
Oregon for quite a long time.
Yeah, all through high school. Went to college in Ohio, moved back to Portland for a sec, moved to Chicago.
How did you start talking with Patrick?
Mutual friend from college. But yeah, I mean, but I moved into this. Patrick was like living in this house and kind of built this house around music where there was a ton of musical instruments.
He built the house?
He didn't build it, but he built he curated the house. Bunch of musical instruments and a studio, and wanted it sort of, it wasn't like a co-op, but it was like a music intentional living space. And he was looking for people to fill like 2 of the rooms, and my friend and I heard the call and decided to move to Chicago. So Patrick is like the introduction to Chicago music for me.
Awesome.
And we collaborated in many ways, like shortly after I moved. We had an ambient project together that we
Did
would
you?
do. Yeah, we would play we would do, what did we call it? We would call them Wednesday washes. Every Wednesday, we had both late starts at work.
Washes.
We would
Love
wake up
that.
at like 7 or 8, make coffee, go to the studio, make ambient music for an hour, and then go to work.
I love that.
Yeah, we could. There are probably recordings. I think we recorded a lot of them too.
Was he using strings as well to blend into?
Patrick is a multi-instrumentalist. I think he was playing like a MPK, like, or what is the like J Dilla sampler? He played that a lot. He would play synths, keys. He would play drum machines. I was basically only on guitar, but with a lot of pedals.
But he is a violinist.
And he's a violinist.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it was super, I don't know, well put together, that track. And I saw that as well. He continues to kind of collaborate with you, so
Yeah, we just arranged a song I wrote 2 or 3 weeks ago. I went over to Patrick's for dinner and we like arranged a new violin part for it.
Amazing. So
yeah.
shout out to Patrick.
Shout
with
out.
Big Bash Party, the demos and one-offs, 2002 to 2022. Woo! 17 songs.
Oh, yeah.
Of gems. Like, those were just, from what I mean, maybe I shouldn't assume, but were they kind of like, you weren't sure if you were going to release them or not, and some of them were like demos or even voice memos?
They were all voice memos.
They're all voice memos. So that's what's going on.
Sure. Dude, I'm about to do it again. I just like go through my voice memos and find songs that I forgot about. A lot of those songs I forgot how to play, which is always sad, because some of those songs I really like, but don't even know what tuning they're in, just don't know how to begin. But and then some of them I don't really like. I do kind of consciously retire. Like I don't care to keep playing this. I don't really want to keep playing this. I don't want to play it live, so I'm just gonna put it out on Bandcamp or something.
Well, I really appreciated how raw those songs
Nice.
were. And I wasn't sure if it was intentional or not, but the voice memos, and to know their voice memos, super awesome that you still like release that. And it was a joy to listen to all the way through. So super I don't know. I like voice memo recordings.
Dude,
Sometimes there's
I use
something.
them
Sometimes there's something really magic.
I use my voice memos as my voice memo app is an essential part of my recording process at this point. Like, have you heard that term, like phone-fi? Like, what is it? I feel like the artist Hemlock describes their music as like phone-fi, but I have like songs just for kicks. I mean, I'll just like record the entire vocal part on my voice memo, email it to myself, drop it, put it in Ableton. There's a song, The Wedding, on my new album, where halfway through the song, it's like mic'd with my, Shure microphones, and then halfway through the song, I fade in the original voice memo that I took of that song 2 years prior. The tempos line up perfectly, and the second half of the song has the original voice memo in it.
Wow, what are the chances?
It's crazy. Yeah,
that is wild.
Yeah. That was an awesome discovery.
Super cool. Super cool. Anonymous, I was happy to see that. I thought maybe that was just Bandcamp, but then later I saw that one as well was on Spotify. And I was going to ask, how do you at the moment distribute like your music? What are you using?
I use DistroKid for streaming and release everything also on Bandcamp, and including some like additional stuff on Bandcamp here and there.
Do you like DistroKid?
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't really give a shit. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I do like having my music on streaming because I use Spotify. I listen to music on Spotify. It's like, it is cool to see my music there, and I know it does make it more accessible, but DistroKid hasn't presented any huge difficulties, so I continue to use it.
They're reasonable.
Yeah.
That I as well have used DistroKid. And not to say that I've had other experience with other distributors. Like, it was just DistroKid that I've decided at the time to use, and it seems fairly simple, but who even knows, man, where the streaming and all this is actually going to go. Like, it does very much seem like something is a little off. It doesn't feel right, with so many artists. Like, I very much feel they should have way more ownership over their own art. And I know that it's like, that you have to use the bigger platforms as like a place to kind of get it out there, but it would be awesome to see more like middle level or even like more community based level, like, I don't know, like ways to share music, or even getting back to buying CDs. Yeah. Or even just like buying, tapes.
I mean, I sell tapes. I fucking like,
you brought the merch.
I just like go to a ton of house shows, play a ton of house shows, sell tapes. Like, I don't know, not everyone has a tape player, but like,
you did bring the merch, right?
I brought merch. Yeah. I'm totally with you. Bandcamp like does its thing, and I mean, I think Bandcamp was at its conception a little bit more in line with its values, and now it's like
Bandcamp was so rad.
But Bandcamp Fridays are fucking sick. Like, they're comparing them to like Spotify, they are like pretty legendary.
Yeah. I still love Bandcamp Fridays. Great stuff. Yeah. I loved seeing that Pancakes at first made it to Spotify like as a single. I was like, wait, what? And then I saw that Sun was as well on it. But did you just release Pancakes? ... Pancakes as a single first?
Released that actually like right after I recorded it, just to get something out, and so that was kind of like the first thing that was on Spotify, and then I took it down and re-released it with the official Sun album cover as like a single for the album, and then released the album like a week later.
What made you go with ... Pancakes? Exclamation point.
I sort of think I think that like punctuation charts the trajectory of the song from this like really unassuming like acoustic guitar, cute like kid singing to this like shoegaze moment, noise and shit.
Love it. Super cool. And I was very thrilled, and it was a joy to see that Cowboy, the Taylor Swift, made it onto the Spotify Thank You Distro kid for making that happen.
Thanks for allowing
and
I did not receive permission.
that was awesome.
Yeah.
It was super
I
cool.
would not have done that, but I made it for a friend who is a big Taylor Swift fan for like a secret Santa project. I just made them a Taylor Swift cover. I would not have
Shout
done
out
it
to
other
T
way.
Swift.
Shout out. I'm not a huge, I don't like have opinions about Taylor Swift, but that song is good and I did really like covering it. Yeah,
I'll always be a sucker for White Horse. Like Taylor will always have a place in my heart.
Yeah.
Take me to a place where even the water stains, and we'll run around with tie-dye skin, so easy to blend in. That line.
Yeah.
That line.
It's crazy to hear you just like read it out. Like, it's so weird when I'm like, you know, when I'm releasing stuff, I put all my lyrics on Bandcamp.
I love that. Thank you for that.
Oh, totally. But whenever I'm, it's that moment, I'm releasing the song and I'm typing out the lyrics verbatim, it's always like a bizarre experience just to see my lyrics so like plainly and formally written, or spoken, like, but yeah, that line.
Great song.
Yeah.
How did that song come to?
Dude, I was in
Come to
fucking rehab and but I was like getting better. And it was, this was like 2021. But Prayers to a Turning Page is really like, I mean, it's turning a page. It's like, it's opening a new chapter, and it's just kind of this vision of like total liberation and autonomy and freedom. That, you know, I wasn't even really thinking about this consciously, like I want my life, but like it's just a vibe. It's like the vibe is like we're like gonna play in the streets, we're gonna get messy, and like we're gonna be like in control of our lives, and like no one's gonna tell us what to do, and it's gonna be really fun.
That song's so beautiful. So beautiful. And to hear that, like you were in rehab at the time, like sounds like a very transformative and challenging time, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I myself have been to a fair share of rehabs, not always the smoothest of transitions.
Yeah.
And places to walk through. But for a song like that to come out of the experience, and Patrick again, you know.
Patrick's contribution to that song is like pretty fucking insane. Like, you know, when we played in a band with like someone on drums and Patrick was playing bass, but then when I started playing more solo, Patrick switched to violin on that, and just like we call it a barn burner. Like we just fucking wail on it, and like I'm constantly cutting open my thumb when I play that song. I bleed all over my guitar when I play that song. I had to stop playing that on the tour I just went on because it was like I couldn't play it multiple nights in a row. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna play it in 1 week at Sleeping Village.
Cool.
Yeah,
I'll be there. I gotta be there. I gotta see that.
It's gonna be
tour
good.
Though.
Tour.
When did you hit the road?
I hit the road in it was October, middle.
Was this the first?
I've been on a short like a 4 or 5 show tour a year and a half ago. But this was 8 shows, Midwest, East Coast, and biggest one. Yeah.
How'd you book it?
Me and my partner were just like hitting up venues relentlessly, DIY. We played a range of range of places, bars, DIY spots, more official venues, but just a lot of like shameless cold
mostly Insta or Facebook,
Instagram, and email.
When Narwave, my punk band, booked our first tour down south in 2016, I remember it was mostly Facebook.
Yeah.
It was like I don't know
totally.
why there was such a punk community.
There are big
on
groups,
Facebook.
like DIY groups and stuff on Facebook.
It's wild. So it's like Facebook and Instagram, but doing it all yourself and doing that. And even Chapter, when he was on the show, was talking about the headache of it. You know, and it really is. But it's not the easiest thing to.
It is.
To craft.
I mean, yeah. I was like, I was kind of thinking about it all the time. I was constant scheming, constant game plan, and it felt miraculous that it came together, and it was then very rewarding for all these random ass meeting. Now I know someone in Rochester, New York, and we could play a show there again. Yeah.
Boom.
Agreed.
So awesome. And not to name drop just like that out of the blue, speaking of Chapter, the excellent Chapter, my favorite celloist in the DIT Shy, or the Wee Shy. DIY. You have something happening.
Yeah. Chapter, I mean, I love Patrick's violin work. I love so strings. Mm-hmm. I love cello. It might be one of my favorite instruments. I've always wanted to work with a cellist. Chapter put out like a promo saying that they were open for cello work. I went over with this song, 2007 Family Home Video, and Chapter's so good. It was like, it was honestly such a breeze working with them, and we wrote the parts like really quickly, and then like the next week we went over to my friend Jack's place and recorded it all on 4-track, and we are using the first take that we did that night.
Whoa!
Yeah.
That's magic.
It's a magic thing. It's a magic thing. I loved working with. I would like to work with Chapter a lot more too.
Yeah, shout out to Chapter.
Totally.
And that's exciting that you guys got a little collab.
Yeah,
happening. Super cool.
That's exciting.
Super exciting. I noticed on the self-titled, really liked the texture and the wording that you put across, the tree or the photo. Does it have an alternative title?
I love that you are asking me. These are great questions. So that lettering says "a wound ecstatic," and I came up with that phrase and really liked it. I like so the word trauma roots back to wound in Latin, I think. And ecstatic or ecstasy means, it's like a state of euphoria, and it's also ecstasis in like Latin or Greek means like a split between spirit and body. So
deep.
Yeah. But like I always loved I just really love these merging like pain and like euphoria and beauty and darkness and like a wound ecstatic. And so I liked that title, but I decided I would just write it somewhere. I just like the idea of just writing it.
Well, I'm very grateful of your work and how you do compose what you do. And like I said, already like a fan of the music, which is the most important part, but what you are doing with just the ambience, but just subtleties in your texture and like the extra like little trinkets, and then also the word choices and even pronunciation, and how you deliver your voice is there's just a lot of care. There's a lot of care, a lot of craftsmanship that I really appreciate it, and it's just been an overall joy. Even that, hearing you say like a wound ecstatic, like, and I just love that phrase. I love how it was written, like on the album cover, and especially the pink coloring and the fonts. Just, I see how much care and you're putting into your work, and it speaks.
Yeah, thank you for seeing me.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Cherry Tree, piano. How did the piano?
It's my brother.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. He plays a little bit on Sun too, on the song called Swallower. But
how long has he been playing?
Also, a very long time. He was, and he's got a more like classical training, I guess, like a lot of pianists. But he plays like at this point like a lot of like contemporary classical music. But I like to collab with him, partly just because it's special. I have a very close relationship with my brother, and it's really special to have him on my tracks. But
how close are you guys in age?
He's like 4 or 5 years younger than me.
Cool. Yeah, me and Tommy are 7 years apart.
Yeah.
So it's like kind of a distance, but really nothing.
Yeah,
at times,
good amount of years. Yeah.
Yeah. It's wild, like, because it's like, so 7 years is a long time, but sometimes, like while we were in the band together, there were moments where it's like, oh, this is just
totally.
this is like my homie. Like we're just creating together. Like there's that. But yeah, that's special to do that with a brother, and to have him play piano. Great pianist too.
Yeah.
It was really sick chaps.
Yeah, agreed.
So really, really dig that off the bat. Barrier is a rocker. I can feel that. I feel that it rocks. Like I want to see that one live at the Empty Bottle with just like, it's a rocker.
I shred that. I honestly play that song even more aggressively now than when I wrote it. Like it's the only song I play with a pick. I don't play with a pick. Because I don't like.
Where do you find the pick when it's time? The pick of destiny.
Sometimes I can't find it. And so I can't play Barrier. Or like I have played it without a pick sometimes. Sometimes I borrow picks, but yeah.
Cool. It happens. Sometimes you'll get lucky and find one on the floor.
Yeah.
I like to just throw a bunch of picks in my pockets, just like, and then usually they really do. Because I think too many times had I had the experience someone had a guitar or something and like didn't have a pick on me, and it's like, what? Gosh, I don't know. This is for our patrons. If anyone knows, but the prices for THC and so not that alcoholic here. I'm not pushing substances on anyone, but the prices are.
But if you like
fairly reasonable over there in Michigan.
But being from Oregon, like Oregon has, I haven't really used weed that much for years, honestly, but Oregon does have ridiculously cheap prices.
Oh my, I can only imagine. I've only been once and it was a joy, but last summer I drove through because I went to Seattle to hang out for a little bit. Beautiful. Just such a good time. And then drove down the 101, like the
coast.
Came through Oregon, but like such a beautiful, fun state.
Yeah.
Like, I was there for a few days and, didn't see everything, but it's cool. And prices are right. Prices are absolutely right. Shout out. So we'll jump in. Patrick, absolutely shout out. Just fantastic. Just work in general. Really, just that's so cool that you guys, collaborate. And you guys still have that going on, and real friendship too.
Yeah,
like a friendship.
definitely.
You guys being your first friend.
My first
kind of
Chicago friend. Probably, yeah.
Sweet. So with your journey, I know you had mentioned that you were in rehab. You know, what kind of, if you don't mind me asking, like what brought that to the table? You know, for you to have to make that decision.
My mental health just, I mean, I was just a wreck. Like I was completely dysfunctional. But I got diagnosed with bipolar in like 2020, and right around then also it started getting really bad, and I was just like in very freaky like headspaces pretty constantly, and then randomly like for those few months just going on like drug binges just like for kicks, or I don't fucking know, but like it was kind of a combination of like the mental illness and like random scattered substance abuse that took me to the hospital a few times, and and treatment, and I went to a few treatment programs that winter spring of 2021, and then I wrote a lot of music there too, a lot on the album.
And Patrick was on the Beads Abound, right?
Patrick's on Beads Abound,
Yeah. And the one line right off the bat in that song, the how do you find what you need looking for what you have?
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah.
It speaks volumes. How did you find those words?
I mean, crazy enough, I didn't actually write them. I just found them written on a piece of paper, like in some treatment center, like setting. Like someone was like taking notes and they just wrote that down. Which is like, I think I have multiple lyrics where it's just found sounds from the memory files. It's just like, I just pluck them from places, and it's just like sampling, I guess. But yeah, those lyrics have become really important and show up on these posters that I'm selling as merch. And yeah, such a crazy
What is
message.
that song about?
That's a crazy song because it really I wrote that song the summer I returned to Chicago from treatment, and I was doing ketamine therapy pretty regularly, and I wrote it like the day I did ketamine therapy. So and the ketamine therapy would always really just like break me down and build me back up, and I would have usually come out with like interesting realizations or like just feeling the importance of like life or something. I didn't totally know what I was writing about when I wrote Beads, but it since has really become about my transition and being trans and realizing I'm a woman. And it's a song about abundance and how do you find what you need looking for what you had? It's a song about letting go of like who you were so you could become like who you need to be.
Beautiful. When you did the ketamine therapy and the sessions, when did you make the decision to go forward with that? Like, what was it that got you interested in that?
Well, I had like, so that whole saga of the like crazy mood states, drug use, etc. It kind of just evolved into me being really fucking depressed and like just like I had tried so many medications, so many therapies, and ketamine is like often used for treatment resistant depression. So I got into one treatment program where they were doing that treatment, and I tried it, and it was a part of, there were many components, but it was a part of the puzzle that helped me get out of that depression, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. When did you start to really, like when the transition happened, was that something that was going on for a long time, or did you know, like
my gender
as a
transition.
kid? Yeah.
It was honestly all around that time, like of treatment. That time was just such a, I was so close to dying multiple times, just so close to dying. And like, and also while I was in treatment, I met a bunch of queer people and trans people who I was like, they were like my best friends. So that definitely got me thinking. But, I don't know. I kind of just came out of treatment and I was like, all right, well, that shit just went down. I feel a little bit better. And like, I don't really know that much about myself, but I don't think I'm like a man. I just don't, that doesn't make sense.
If you don't mind me asking, did you identify as a man up until what you, like when?
Like 2021, but I wouldn't even say I did identify as a man. I didn't even like, I didn't really like think about it that much. But I started thinking about it more and realizing that I like didn't identify as a man. And that was like in treatment in 2021. And then the past whole like 3 or 4 years have been just like kind of pulling that thread and like seeing where it leads me.
Wow. That's a journey.
Yeah.
I am proud that you got through it. And I mean, that's not tough. That's not easy for anyone to go into rehab, and to be, head on with such as like identity and things that are, just power, like very challenging stuff as humans, and that's beautiful that you cared about yourself enough to, really seek help and get the help. And then also that's incredibly brave of you, to really go forward on all fronts with that. And would you say that ketamine helped?
Yeah. I don't know. It helped in the short term, especially because like the first time I did the ketamine therapy, I like, started thinking like every time I would do ketamine therapy, 2 things would happen. One, every time I would think about one person in my life who was special to me. The first time I did the ketamine, I thought about my brother, and I thought about how like, oh, obviously I need to stay alive because like my brother. And after the ketamine, I like called him, and every time I would just think about like a friend or a family member. But also every time I did ketamine, I would listen to a fucking album, and I listened to like the whole Animal Collective discography.
Shout out to AC.
Dude, insane shout out to Anko, because like I've thought about just like hitting them up and being like, y'all really saved my life. But I would put on like you do ketamine and it lasts about an hour, which is like solid album. So I would listen to full albums and just have like, insane like experiences.
Like a blast.
Yeah, it was
I've never done it myself, but it sounds like very for music and the sensory, just overall expands.
It does have that just kind of psychedelic component. And spiritual. I mean, as I feel
AC like already is like way out there. Like you're already having out of body experiencing, listening to Animal Collective.
But like, I think it's also like, I just want to emphasize the fact that like while I was like suicidally depressed, like can't get out of bed, want to die, like all I could listen to was like insanely like euphoric like psychedelic Animal Collective. It's just like, and I also used to listen to the Beach Boys a bunch when I was depressed too, just like Sunny and Beach Boys is like pretty depressing really, but it's just funny like what draws you.
Yeah, when you know the roots of the Beach Boys, it gets very dark. But on the surface and their music, up front, it's just like, oh, this is joy. Yeah, this is a joy to listen to, and most of it's very like just so warm and fuzzy and upbeat, sunny California.
But Animal Collective, like huge inspo too.
Man,
I feel really inspired by Animal Collective in my production style of like I don't know.
I never
weird
put that
soundscapes.
together when I was listening through to your discog, but wow, now that this is surfacing, wow, yeah. I see that. I feel that. But you do it in a beautiful way. Like you very much took theory and like little Easter eggs or, you know, whatever you want to call the tricks of the trade that AC does, and you played it off well.
I do think there's also their album Sung Tongs, which is closest to like the music that I make. But I'm really into like inspirations that don't seem obvious. Like I'm really like I obviously really like Elliott Smith or something, but like I also like I really like Kid Cudi. Like I really like
Man on the Moon.
I know I have
Let's go.
I like just like shouting out these like really like more like far off left field inspirations.
I love Cudi. It's me and my bro. Like my bro, I think, was the first one to turn me on to Cudi. And this freaking
dude,
man,
Cudi, so
good.
I keep having Cudi reels. It's been in the last year though. I mean, yeah, the Man on the Moon records were on repeat middle school, and I so connected to them. As I was starting to like have mental illness, as I was starting to smoke weed, like. All this shit was just like in Kid Cudi music. But like so recently I've realized that he's been so inspirational to me because he was the first like artist I listened to who really just like wore his heart on his sleeve, like really bore his soul, you know, like and also Kid Cudi has fucking bipolar. And like the arrangements on like Man of the Moon are so vast and dreamy and also so dark, and like
masterpiece.
I like make music like my produced like more maximal music. I love it to be shiny and heavenly and beautiful, and also like fucking dark and like destructive, and you know that like both everything.
Shout out
Cudi.
Well, Sylvia, thank you so much for coming onto the show. I think this is a great time for us to break away and do the jam portion. Let's rock it out, and we'll do a few songs, and then we'll come back and do the roundup.
Here we go.
Full self.
Full self,
Sush.
baby. Dead butterfly frozen in time. The courtyard scene. It's always dusk inside your eyes. The nightmare dreams. Don't you look so happy? I gave myself to those hospital pills. They swallowed my love. Now crying down these West Virginia hills, singing our last night together. Don't you look straight through me? No one else is there. Don't you think you knew me? I fanned the fire right underneath my skin. The smell of scorched tire. What am I if I am not within a starless night? Some part of me will always be in the courtyard scene. write any song that's not about you. My shadow room, she's dust in the light and freckles the skin on my face. Perforate moon, would you fall for another dance? Would you fall for another dance? The table is set, but there was no one to make food. And so we spin, we step with our lives, and worlds wind a spiraling maze. Empty bellies, would you rise for another dance? 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 On the rosewood our bodies meet. We step on each other's feet. On the rosewood our bodies meet. We step on each other's feet. I'll sing songs that aren't about you. My shadow wound, I came out of you, but I can't get you out of me. Dead in cocoon, will I fall for another dance? Will I fall for another dance? I saw a cloud in the sky from Saturday. The words come down and the worms come up to play. We eat our dust to dust till we suffocate. I heard a scar in the words he What else am I good for? Something to hold me back. But how do we keep on holding while letting go at the same time? I saw a kite in the clouds just yesterday. The sun comes out and the cats come home to play. We clean our bones and wash all our troubles away. Tonight I'm gonna dress to the nines. I'm gonna smell like a rose. I'm gonna spend all my dough. I'm gonna paint it permanent. I'm gonna save this. What else am I good for? Something to hold me back. But how do we keep on holding while letting go at the same time? What else am I good for? Something to hold me back. But how do we keep on holding while letting go at the same time? Letting go at the same time. Letting go at the same time. Letting go at the same time.
And welcome back, everyone, to the Full Self Sessions Roundup.
Round up.
Let's round it up. Those were some special songs, some real gems. I got to see one or two of those at the apartment, which was great. Loved seeing them even more so up close and personal. One-man audience here tonight. Fucking great. Seriously.
Thanks.
It's a great performance. What was the first number?
The first song is called Courtyard Scene. It's about being in the psych ward.
Damn, that song
Yeah.
is actually about being in the psych ward.
Yeah.
Dang.
The Courtyard is I was in the hospital in September, and but every night every like dusk time, if you had gone to group, they would take you to the Courtyard, which was this like brick wall, like square area, like fenced in by brick walls, and there were some trees and there was a basketball court, but it was always dusk, so this is just so great. I mean, the sky was always like pink and purple. I was always so fucked up, like on hospital drugs and like my own brain. But when I went there the first time, I was
September of this.
Yeah, it was like
year.
a few months ago.
Wow.
But when I went there the first time, I realized that I had a dream about it the night before I went there. I had like already dreamt about it, and instantly I was.
That's wild. You literally had a dream.
I was like, I've
were there
already
like
had a dream
actual
about it.
forms and objects that tied into play?
yeah, this space of like the courtyard, it's the stuff of dreams, like, and it's also crazy because like I because I couldn't have my phone or anything, there was no way to. It was a beautiful place and also like so haunting because it was like the fucking psych ward, but I couldn't take any photos of it. So I was like, and there probably aren't any photos of it because it's like inside a hospital. But I really wanted to write a song
Was
about
it
it.
spooky a little bit?
It was very spooky.
Yeah. Psych wards are terrifying.
Yeah.
Even the modern ones.
Even modern, they like
Don't even get me
they
started
try.
about the old ones.
Yeah.
Like those buildings.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what was actually going on. We don't have to get into but wild.
I guess, but
Wild. Was that the first time you were hospitalized in a psych ward?
no,
Okay.
I've been to a psych ward like 4 times or something.
And did it all start 2020, 2021?
2020 was the first time I went to the psych ward.
Was it, and if this is too much, we don't have to get into it, but was it your own choice? Or
Some of the times were my own choice. The first time I went was my own choice. I was
Okay.
scared of myself. When it's my own choice, I'm scared of myself. When it's somebody else's choice, I mean, one time I was like on hella drugs and I got someone found me, and another time another person found me. But yeah.
Damn. Overall, your experience there, do you feel like you did gather some wisdom, or did you learn or benefit?
I
Any of
have
the-
my last hospital stay confirmed for me personally, that the hospital is not a place where I really gain wisdom or even heal. It is only a place to go when I absolutely need to just be safe. And hospitals vary so much, and like there are so many shitty fucking hospitals. They just drug you up, and like the groups are like, they're kind of BS. But like I feel like for actual like healing and wisdom, there are like, residential treatment programs, or like IOPs, or just therapy. Like
There's a
hospital
lot of more practices that are more based in the roots.
Yeah.
Even such as like even meditation or
Yeah.
like holistic medication, like
Definitely.
some stuff like that might be closer to source or closer to the root of what you need to identify with in order to solve what's missing or what's wounded even.
Yeah.
It's like,
I mean, hospital is not like, you're not going to do like trauma therapy in a hospital, it's like, it's just crisis management. But
Yeah.
I mean, you could gain things. I mean, I wrote this song.
about the 12-step program.
Yeah, I know, true. Yeah, you can get things from the hospital, but
Yeah.
I'm trying not to go again. Like,
I feel you.
yeah,
It's not fun. I wouldn't recommend it,
yeah,
to anyone that doesn't need it. It's not necessarily the funnest time, but it is important if you are struggling and if you do need help. Like, it is important to reach out to people. It is absolutely a place, like you said, that is like, if that's the safest place for you and that's an option,
sometimes it's the safest place.
that's not a bad thing. And as far as the 12 steps, I mean, I'm grateful still to Bill and Bob. I'm still grateful to, and I know, the 12 steps, not for everyone, but the foundation of that and what that did for me in order to kick the alcohol and kick substances, I'm grateful, and, got to start somewhere. And for what they did and what they wrote for that time, there's still some hard truth to some of those things, But alcohol is a brutal one. But all of these drugs and substances can absolutely be challenging, especially when you have a creative mind. And I mean, like I said, like your work, your discography, I wasn't even expecting there to be such a vast amount of it, and very much enjoyed. But you, without doubt, a very creative mind, and it's beautiful. It's just beautiful to see what comes out of it, and
Thank you.
it's fucking stellar.
Thanks.
But I can imagine it's noisy up there sometimes.
Definitely.
Yeah. Fuck. What have you been working on? Anything coming up? Anything you're excited about for?
Yeah, well, the last song I played tonight, I wrote like a week or two ago. I got a big show next week at Sleeping Village. It might be the biggest show.
Shout
I've
out
played.
Sleeping Village, and that's gonna be on Saturday night.
It's on Tuesday the 17th.
It is not. It's gonna be on Tuesday
I don't know, will this
night.
thing even be out before?
It's gonna be on the 17th. It may or may not be. We'll
All right,
see.
well, you should have been there.
And you should absolutely be there if you can. If you're hearing this.
Yeah, for the
If
debut,
not,
the cello
hopefully
debut.
look for YouTube. Ooh, chapter.
The cello debut. But that's a big show. Then I don't have shows until February. But I got like a good amount of shows lined up in February. Yeah, that's I'm looking to hunker down, and I've been releasing a bunch of singles, just kind of quick rapid fire, and I'm looking to maybe compile like a bigger project, an EP or an album or something. Maybe I've been recording a lot on tape, and I might want to do like a whole project on like 4-track or reel-to-reel.
Awesome. Please do. That sounds gnarly.
Yeah.
I could see that being up your alley.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing stuff. Thank you. Seriously. Thank you so much. And everyone, Sylvia, Sawyer, James, link below. Check out the tunes. Check out the show. Buy a ticket. You also brought merch. So
I brought merch.
Let's bust out some merch
Everywhere I go.
and then we'll close out the night for the Full Self session number 1.
Cool.
Thanks everyone for tuning in. Peace.
Thanks.
And chiming back in. These absolutely are going to be available at the show. Super stellar. What does it say here?
It says, Sylvia, Sawyer, James, how do you find what you need looking for what you had? And I will have you know that there are multiple references in this poster. The beads are the actual beads from the song. What's that word? They're the actual beads from the song. This moon is the moon that I hang in my room everywhere I live. And these flowers are real dried flowers from the photo shoot of my album cover.
Amazing. Love it. And tapes will be available. Thanks, everyone. Rock on. Full Self.
Bye.
Full Self. Stellar.